Good morning, friends. Welcome or welcome back if you are a returning viewer to my Flosstube, my little place on the YouTubes for everything cross stitch. I am Sen. If you are new, I am an artist and designer, and here I keep a little bit of track on what I get up to every week with my stitching journey, both for my personal stitches as well as my stitchy business. Today is Monday, the 19th of January, and I am back for you with another weekly update, as well as customary. Look who just appeared. This is Seto. He is one of my two little boys. Well, I always say it all the time. He's a kitten, but he is almost 13 years old? 14? I would have to do math. He was born in 2012, so 14 years old, almost. He will be in March. Also, rare occurrence. I don't know if you can see. There is another one all the way there in the back. That is my other boy. He is not as social, if you will. He usually hangs out somewhere else. But this one always needs to be part of the attention, part of the party. So that being said, and introductions being done, last week has not been the best stitchy week. I think I only did about, when I look at my stats over at my computer screen right in front of me, so if I'm looking there, this is my phone that you're on, and my computer is right behind it. So if I'm looking funny, that's why. I did about half as much as last week, which is okay. Could have been better, but it has been a fairly stressful week, so not gonna get into that. You're here for the stitching and not for my drama, so we will not talk about that. But I have been working mostly on model stitches last week. I've been trying to catch up, starting to catch up with some of my older models that are still unfinished. So I've worked on one older one and one that should have been done weeks ago, and also on some new things. So there is a new start, because if you were here last week, I had some new starts that I showed you. I am working on a small-ish, medium-ish summer collection already, because we all know stitching takes time, and if I want to make the models myself, I better start sooner rather than later, or they will not be done. So I will show you that one. That's a new start, and well, which I will start over, but we will get into that when we get there. So we're already starting with the what even is English. So without much further ado, and without more than necessary waffling, let's move on to my desk, and I will show you what I have been working on this past week, shall we? Before we get into the models, let's get into my already failing plans. So I said last week that I did some math to see what I need to do, or how much I need to do on this one if I want to get it to 50% by the end of 2026, which is 1050 or 1020, something slightly over 1,000 stitches per week on this one. And I managed last week. I did not this week. This week I only worked on it yesterday for a total of 815, which is not too bad, but it's not 1,000. But I was just getting a little burned out on, because I am working in the background. You can probably see in the before and after that I managed another half row of these 10 by 10 blocks, like almost half of a 10 by 10 block on this background. And then I got so tired of it. There's like, okay, I can put some more stitches in somewhere else, but I cannot work another 2 hours on this background. This week I will try to maybe, I don't know, spread it out over the week and not just work on it for one day or one evening, but I don't know, try to do like one row per day or something like that. So I get this background in without burning myself out and stitching this same color for 5,000 to 6,000 or more stitches. I don't even know how many stitches these are. Like, make a guess, because this background goes all the way down to his head. Like, all of this will be background filling in. Let me get the picture. Those of you that haven't seen it yet, all of this is background. So you see the 10 by 10 squares. Give me a guess how many stitches this are, because I don't know. But regardless, I moved over a little to this part here because I do kind of want to stick to the typewriter-ish situation to prevent getting more tension lines, of which I have a lot over here. Like in the background over here, you can probably see them very well on camera. I certainly can. And try to prevent the warping of the fabric. Like you can see here where the thickness of the confetti in this part specifically completely warped the fabric. It will probably be fine once it's finished and framed, like because it will be stretched when it's laced, but I don't want to risk any shenanigans, let's be honest. So I moved over and I worked a little bit more in here in his horn and like on the top, working in the top colors in. So that got a little bit more attention for, well, a total of 815 stitches. So that is where this one is currently sitting at, and I will give it more love this week. So you will probably be seeing this one on a regular basis, like I said, because this is kind of my focus for this year. Next one I worked on that is not a model is this one, and I had planned to do a lot more on him this week, but then I got distracted, and instead of stitching on him, I did well, I haven't fully kitted this one. I because I was impatient, so I started it before I had all the colors and all that. So, and most of the colors are still loose, they are not on floss cards, so I had to have some conversations, and because I did not want to like just miscount because I was distracted with dealing with stuff, I just, the time that I was planning on stitching on this, I spent putting the flosses, the colors that I have for this, on floss cards. So this only got a little over 400 stitches this week, and I worked one more thread of like the main color, the 939 in up here, and then I kind of was like, I want to see how this eye comes in, because whoops, that's a shaky camera, and like the surrounding area. So that's what I went to focus on, and worked a few colors into here, not finishing the threads, but actually like cutting them off and putting them back on floss cards, because these colors are mainly in here. So this is the chaos that is this one for now, because it is missing quite a few colors, which I am not going to buy, since I am on a no spend unless it's for business for this year, and I am planning on sticking to that. So whenever I get to put the missing colors into this, because I finish other projects for my webs, then this will eventually have a complete set of colors. Otherwise it will have to wait until next year when I'm allowed to buy stuff again. So, or for my birthday, maybe. We will see. But regardless, this is where this one is sitting at for this week. And now we will move on into models. Models. So all the model that I picked up for last week was Queen Bee, because I think I worked on her once or twice after designing this pattern, and then didn't really touch her much again after that. So I picked her up and gave her some love. This is where she's at now. I did some filling in her hair and the crown, and I think some of the little flower petals up here. Did some more on the, let me see if I can put it. Did some more on the outlines, but you can of course see that in the before and after. So she got a bit of love. I don't know how much did I do on her, 400 stitches last week, which is good because this is like not necessarily a small, I'd probably call it a medium pattern. So 400 stitches is a good chunk of progress. And I will pick her out again because again, I'm trying to get some of my smaller projects, my smaller whips, both models and personal projects finished, so I can whip down a little bit. But for now, this is where she's at. Let's move on to the next one. Next one, not necessarily old, but older and should have by all means be finished yet. Whip is the winter band sampler or winter sampler that is my current Patreon pattern for this month. So you can get this one by signing up, pledging to my Patreon for January. It is €5 per month. You can cancel anytime, so if you just want this pattern, you still have a few days left to join my Patreon, links in the description, and get the pattern for this month. So I worked a bit more in the house, I believe. Like, don't know exactly what I did, but I did give this about almost 600 stitches last week, so just quite a bit. And I moved down here, started the outlines on the second set of the holly berries that will be in here. Whoops, shaky camera again. Finished the outlines of the little snowman and put in the first, oh my god, what's the word? I'm just gonna call it tree. So pine tree. Like, it's not a Christmas tree because there are not Christmas lights on it. So the first tree, there will be another one on the other side, and then obviously the frame needs to be done on the left and the right, and the second holly berry here. So that is where, because all of this top part here was done, so this is what I worked in, the bottom part of this pattern. And I would have loved to have it finished by the end of December, so it could have been up with a model on Patreon and all that, but I didn't, because sometimes it is like that. And this is not a mini pattern, this is a bit larger. This I do not know how many stitches does it have. Let me check. This has, I mean, it's fine, it has 4,500 stitches. It should be doable in a month. But I'm not exclusively stitching on models, as if you've been here for a while, you are aware I have 100 whips. More than 100 whips if I count all the new models. But yeah, this is where this one's at. Let's get to the next one before I keep waffling. So next up, and this will hopefully be finished by the end of the month to be up with a model on Patreon in February, is I'm calling it, like, might be a working title, might not be, the Lovers version 2, because it is kind of a, well, you could view it as an upgraded version of my original Valentine's pattern with the 2 dragons. So this is prettier, I think, but I've learned a lot since I made that one, I think 2 or 3 years ago now, I don't even know. But this is about halfway done. I think I should be about, let me check, what does my stats say? 56% done with this one. And there will be a second dragon. This is kind of mirrored in the middle, and I just have to do the other side and see that I get this done by the end of the month. And then that is where this one will be. I've only worked on it twice last week, despite me being like, yeah, maybe I should do 100 stitches each day, then it will definitely be finished by the end of the month. Yeah, and in the end I will sit there, still have 800 stitches to go on the 30th, or is it the 31st in January? I don't even know. So 31st. So, but we'll get there. This will be finished. I shall manage. Now on to our final 2 projects of last week. This one you've seen last week already. Give me 1 second. I shall put the camera closer because both of these are smaller. We don't have to be a million miles away. I don't have to hold them up into the camera. So you've already seen this one last week where it was a new start. So I have done a little bit more work on this. Not too much. I think it got, well, it did get 200 stitches. So which is fine for such a tiny pattern. And that is what this one said. Not too much to say about that. I've went on a tangent last week already. I don't want to tangent this again, but this is one part, and I did start this week the main pattern, like the one that I started with for this little summer citrusy collection. It doesn't necessarily need to be a summer one. You could also use it for autumn or winter because, you know, there's a lot of citrusy going on in winter. But let me show you the larger one. I do not have a printout for it yet, which is fine, but that's like, it's gonna be a round pattern that you can display in a hoop. And I was impatient, so I started it on this fabric that I dyed myself. It's a cheap Aida that I got from China, and I like how this dyed. I like the color, but it's not ideal for this one, which I did not realize until I got the fabric that I originally ordered to stitch this model on, because I choose one on Etsy from a fabric dyer that I ordered from before. Let me see, is their name in here? Wow, I have it with my tripod today, which is Easy Stitch for Fun on Etsy. And I ordered with them before and I loved what they did. So I chose and I'm gonna show you in a minute, don't worry, a light green, like springy colored fabric. It's a printed Aida. So, but I was impatient this weekend. I kind of wanted to start it. I was like, yeah, I can use the fabric that I ordered for something else once it arrives. Yeah. And then it arrived today. I just pulled it out of my mailbox, and this is the fabric. So I will need to go out a little bit again. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful? And it's so bright, and I don't think it even catches on, like shows up on camera properly. Let me see if I can turn the light a little bit warmer or something. Oh my god, this is bad. I think this is a little better, but let's see. No, not really. But this is a very, very bright. It's light, but it's saturated, I think is the right word. Saturated, light, springy green. And if you put them side by side, you see, I think this, because this is also light green, right? And I think this pattern will look a lot better on this fabric. So I will start it over, especially because the light green that I have in this one, you might not even have seen it on camera. There's over here, there is a little leaf here. And it is disappearing into the fabric, which I usually do not mind. I don't mind stitching tone and tone, and if things like get lost a little bit, but I think it will look a lot better on this fabric that I originally intended for it. So I will be restarting this one. It's a little sad because it already got 550 stitches, which is over 30%, I believe. No, it's 16%. So never mind me. This is a larger one than this little coaster here. So no, I will restart it. Both of them are 16 count. So size will be the same, but that is what you get for being impatient. But it doesn't matter. You live and learn, right? I will just be restarting this and hope that my floss will be, that I will have enough floss, but shouldn't be needing a full skein for for this one. But that is all that I've worked on last week. So shall move you back to my face and we shall finish today's little update. So here we are again. I'm back. Wonderful. So what do you think? Let's see, maybe I can show you the fabric better like this. Oh yeah, look at this. Isn't this pretty? Oh my god, it is amazing. I love it. So the comparison, sometimes it's better to do it this way, right? But not always. See, that worked better on my desk. But right, I think the brighter one, you will see. I will restart it and I will show you next week, obviously. And then you can tell me if I was stupid. But I will have both variations and then I can decide which one is better. And that is why I like stitching models, because then I have a better feeling of how the colors look together and what fabric type and color looks better and all of those shenanigans. And also I obviously make my patterns because I like them, so I will like stitching them, right? I mean, at least as a designer, that's how you should be doing things. That's my personal opinion. Why would you design patterns that you don't like personally? I mean, obviously from a business perspective, you'd be like, yeah, I need to design what my customers want. But from an artist's perspective, I'd be like, I want to design things that I like, because that's what art is all about, right? It's expressing, and I'm not good at describing this, but I would hope you get what I'm getting at. Anyway, this is this week's update. Let me know what you think about what I've shown you if you want. I'm always happy to see your comments down in the comment section, and I am a small enough channel to be able to reply on all of your comments, and I do like chatting a little bit in the comment section, so feel free to let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you've been working on while watching. This is probably gonna be a shorter video, so let me know. Even a half an hour of stitching or 20 minutes of stitching is progress. Slow and steady wins the race, right? This is, for the most part, a hobby. And it's a slow hobby to relax and bring like speed down a little bit. And because I feel like everything in this world is always so fast and so short attention span related, and maybe I'm just old. I will be 42 soon. Imagine that. It's not even a month. So we'll see. But that will be it for today. There's not much to say about life updates. I think, finally gonna get over this cold. I mean, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling perfectly fine, in all honesty. I just have a little bit of a lingering cough, but from what I know, that can take a few weeks before that fully disappears. It's gotten cold again outside, so we'll see. Hopefully I'm not gonna catch anything else before all of this is over. So I'm usually not sick over the warm months. It's more like a winter thing. I have a bit of stuff that I need to be doing after I finish this video, and then I can get back to work on my models and my other business related stuff. Some appointments I need to go to tomorrow, and my Dungeons and Dragons groups to prepare for. And other than that, I will probably be doing work and stitching and everything else that needs to be done around the house. But like I said, for the most part, my life is pretty boring. I work, I stitch, I spend most of my time at home. I'm your S-tier homebody, if you will. I don't do much other than chill and work, obviously. But you know, I prefer to chill at home in my free time. That's what I was getting at. So, waffling. Lots of waffling. We know the waffling. Leave me a comment if you want to. Other than that, please like, subscribe if you aren't already. That would be wonderful. The algorithm will be happy and so will I. And then I will hopefully see you next week. Bye bye and happy stitching.